Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and this is Pill on Daily Culture. And we take you behind the scenes of a movie, The Prophet, about Primate Wyszynski. With us is Mateusz Pastewka, the cinematographer. Thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you.
And there were two other movies which you cooperated with the director of The Prophet, so Michał Konrad. The previous one was Purgatory and Love and Mercy. Both, I would say, devoted to a more Catholic theme, topics. But the two previous movies were feature documentaries. So movies half, not only story, but with a part of it which is documentary part. This one is only feature story. Tell us the difference of working on such kind of movies. What was the what were the differences, and also in your approach, especially that Love and Mercy was also a very popular movie. So why also did you wanted this one to be only a feature film?
Michał Konrad, when he invited me to work with him on the first film we did together, that was Love and Mercy, he invited me to work on the feature part of the film, not the documentary. So the documentary was done by a different cinematographer, and for me, that was not really such a big difference than working on any other feature film, because I didn't really touch the documentary part. I didn't touch the interviews and everything surrounding the interviews. So I was doing the story part. The only difference is it is, just a shorter film that you're making.
In kind of cuts, you need to remember that there are things between.
Yeah, of course. Well, we have a script. We have a script that we have to follow, and Michał, as a director, he knows where these story that we're shooting for this documentary are going to be intercut with the interviews and everything that is happening there. So, from the cinematographer perspective, there is really not so big difference between shooting something like this, because essentially I am making just another film that is maybe less concentrated, because I'm just shooting, separate scenes. So the only difference is that it just takes, less time to shoot, and it's the documentaries, they tend to have a smaller budget as well, so we cannot go really crazy about what's happening there. But the feature film is much more complex in the structure, because from cinematographer's perspective, there is a lot of things that you have to pay attention around. You cannot just shoot a scene and don't think about everything surrounding it. You have to have the awareness of what is the scene before, what is the scene after. And if these scenes are just a sequence of story, you have to keep in mind what kind of lighting was in the previous scene and what kind of lighting should be in the next one, because you're not shooting films chronologically. You're not shooting scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. You're shooting scene 5, and then in 2 weeks you're shooting scene 27, and then in half a year you're shooting scene 3, So
okay,
yeah.
So basically you kind of need to move in time, but
yes.
Remember to keep the standards which were in the previous one.
And you don't want this kind of situation that your character is inside a house and it's obviously a sunny day, and then he goes out and it's raining,
It's gloomy.
Exactly. So you gotta pay attention on a lot of things, and working on a feature film is just much more difficult. Not only because it's just bigger, longer. I'm not talking about time here. I'm talking about things that are connected with each other, and so many things that you have to consider when you're working on a feature film.
Well, it seems like a puzzle all about.
Yes, it does.
There's a lot of holes and dangers which can appear
That's
somewhere.
True. That's true.
So Purgatory, Love and Mercy, and now there is The Prophet.
Yes.
About Primate Wyszynski. I would say all are a little bit connected to the topics of Christianity and the story of a church and all of this, which it makes it also a little bit for, I would say, certain viewers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing also about the fact that you're doing such kind of movies, is there any artistic approach which you, for example, changed or wanted to? Is this one, I don't know, more wild or more artistic expression, more different, more, because this one seems to be more political than the previous ones?
Well, my approach when working on every film has always the same background. I work with a director and I work for a director. He's the closest person to me when I'm working on a film. So my job essentially is to find out what is the story about, what director wants and how he wants the story to be, and give him everything I have, all the ideas, all my heart and everything to make, you know, his vision come true, and give him a lot of ideas from myself to maybe boost up what he already has. So that approach I use for every film, for every director that I work with. And Michał is very special, the director, because he is close to the topics that he talks about. His films are religious films because he's a very religious person, and I think that the best film always comes when a director is telling a story that is close to him. When someone is making, you know, a film about war, and he never was on the war and he never experienced war, that film is not going to be so good as a film of someone who really experienced this. The best films always come from personal experience, from personal, you know, dramas, from your heart. The films are about emotions. So if you are not connected to the topic, if you're not connected to the story that you're talking about, then I don't think you can be as successful as a director unless you have a crazy imagination, you know, and you devote to research this topic so much. But because Michał is that kind of person, and these films are very personal for him, I need to just, you know, look at his vision and think of the technical terms, how to make this vision come true. I am the bridge between the artistic world and the technical world. So I take a director and his vision and then move it to the technical world, basically.
So it seems like the movie is, I would say, a fruit or a child of a cooperation between the director and the cinematographer, and that's what it comes out at the end is what we see on the screen. So of course, again, we invite you to see the Prophet about the Primate Wyszynski, also looking at this from such kind of perspective that it is a heart and soul of someone, and this is mostly the director. And thank you again for watching Pearl on Daily Culture.